Hello and welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome back to another match reaction. It's finished Watford 2, Rotherham United 0 in the Championship. A big win for Watford, as is every win this season, but particularly this one off the back of the Cardiff City game at the weekend. The first win with fans back in the stadium, which is a massive positive. And actually, it was pretty comfortable in truth, and we'll be getting into the performance, getting my thoughts on what was obviously a really important win for Watford. Before we do get into that, as a bit of housekeeping, if you do enjoy this match reaction, then please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18, turn on your post notifications so you never miss an upload, and get in the live chat now if you are watching straight after the game. What did you make of it? Who was the standout? Even did you think there was maybe a bit of a drop-off in the second half? What do you put that down to? Let me know in the live chat, and towards the end of the live stream, I'll be taking a look through them and giving my thoughts on your questions and my thoughts on your thoughts, which is always a great segment of the match reaction. So where do we start? We'll start with the lineup, which was, in truth, quite a good one. A 4-4-2. Wilmot, Garner and João Pedro came out for Femini, Chalobah and Paritza. And particularly Paritza, I was really excited to see back into the starting lineup. Now, he started against Bournemouth, obviously scored that great bit of movement from the cross from Sarr. Paritza was there at the back post to stab it home. And we've seen glimpses of him. Against Cardiff, he was probably one of the brightest sparks we did have at the weekend. When he came on, he made a big impact, I thought, and should have scored actually towards the end. And he got his chance tonight, and I actually think we looked a lot better side, particularly for this game, with him starting. The first 15 minutes, he had the first chance of the game with that half volley, great save from Jamal Blackman, and that led to the corner where it was obviously a well-worked routine, and Kabasele scored from the flick-on from Troy. But Paritza, it was great to see him back in the starting lineup. And I think, to be honest with you, if I was Vladimirovic, I would consider playing him against Birmingham at the weekend, because what Paritza offers you is something a little bit different to Troy, in the fact that he can hold the ball up, but he can also run in behind, and his movement was the big thing that stood out for me today. He was stretching the Rotherham back line, and this is the only criticism I have of João Pedro, because that's not Dini's game anymore. Potentially 5 years ago under Slavisa Jokanovic, where he was making those runs in behind. I think it was Leeds away at Ellen Road when we absolutely smashed Leeds. It was Troy who was running in behind and scored that brilliant one-on-one. He used to be able to do that. That's not his game anymore. Paritza has the ability to go beyond the last line of defence, and I thought he did that really well today. I know there was a couple of times in the second half he was offside, but overall, Paritza, superb today. I thought he was one of the standouts. The two other changes were Kiko, who was back into the lineup, and Nathaniel Chalobah. Now, there was a few people who were disappointed to see a midfield two of Chalobah and Cleverley. I was a little bit apprehensive at the start as well, because I'm so keen to see Hughesy back in that starting lineup. It's been a long time since we've seen him get a run of games, since under Nigel Pearson at the end of last season. So I really want to see Hughesy come back into the squad. I'd imagine he'll come back in for Cleverley. If I was going to go for a midfield two and replace replace someone for Hughes, it probably would be Cleverley, and I would continue with this 4-4-2 system. And obviously the final change was Chalobah, who came in. Tell you what, we'll look at the first goal. As I said to you before, Paritza had that half volley, which led to the corner. It was definitely worked off the training ground. The way Ken whipped it into Troy, he dragged three players out with a header at the front post to flick it on, and Kabasele, striker's instinct at the back post. And we scored from a corner, which feels quite strange in all honesty. It's been a while since that's happened. I don't think we've scored from a corner this season. I may have completely forgot a goal, but I'm pretty sure we haven't. But Kabasele has done it before. I remember against Spurs. I think it was January 2019. Yeah, January 2018. And he did that celebration in front of the Upper Graham Taylor stand. So he scored from corners before. He did it again today. And I think that early goal was so important, wasn't it? Because we knew what Rotherham, the threat they were going to pose, or the way they were going to set up more, particularly from the start, which was going to be stay in the game as long as possible and trying to nick it. And that early goal really did just set us on our way. And we started the game so quickly, and probably I'd go as far to say we haven't started a game much better than that. Preston at home is the other one that sticks out for me. Those two games have been the the two games where we've actually come out the blocks fast and gone, you know what, let's take it to the opposition. And that set piece goal was just brilliant, and it really did set the tone, particularly for that first half. And yeah, Kabasele, great to see him on the score sheet. And then the second goal was, let me just wait. Who scored the second goal? Completely forgot. Who scored the second goal? Oh, I completely forgot. Who was it? Oh, Troy at the back post. I completely forgot about that one because it wasn't a particularly memorable goal. Troy at the back post to knock it in. Kiko whipped in the cross, obviously, got a little bit of a deflection, and then Troy was at the back post. And to be fair to Troy, to have the anticipation to be there at the back post to stab it home, great play from him. And I think, to be honest, in that first half, we were pretty good. We were the better side. I think that first half we looked a lot more of a coherent unit. The big plus for me was the way Ngakia and Sarr were linking up down the right-hand side. Kiko and Ken Sema on the left as well. You know, what was happening was the two wingers were tucking inside, which gave the option of Ngakia and Kiko just to make the run on the overlap, which was really effective, I thought, particularly in the first half. So, yeah, no real problems from that first half. Now, yeah, the second half, it was a different Watford side that came out. Disappointing second half performance, in all honesty, particularly after the tone we set in the first half. Now, arguably, we didn't have to do a lot because it was pretty comfortable anyway. I wanted that third goal really just to ease the pressure off, and then we could kind of cruise in the last half an hour or so. But it wasn't really the case, and all credit to Rotherham. I thought they grew into the game as it went on, whether that was them improving or us just taking a foot off the gas. I think it was more the latter. We weren't great in the second half, in all honesty. Struggling to put real patterns of play together. And it was just one of those games in the second half where I think everyone was thinking, let's just get it over the line and get it done, because it wasn't a great watch in the second half, was it? It was pretty poor, in all honesty. We need to improve on that, because better sides will come back into the game. If we're 2-0 up and we play like that in the second half, then we'll have problems against the better sides in the league. And that's no disrespect to Rotherham, but they are a weak side. The second half was a bit disappointing. First half was the positives, where we did come out the blocks quickly. I think the way the wingers were really effective with the fullbacks, the way they were connecting up was very good. But I think it got to the second half and we were kind of preserving our legs because of the busy period we do have. Obviously, Birmingham. I think the fixture list is absolutely crazy. We got Birmingham, Brentford, Huddersfield, Norwich, and then Millwall before the new year. So 5 games in the next 2.5 weeks or so, which is just absolutely crazy. I'd imagine the players are thinking, you know what, the job's done. But having said that, though, against certain other teams, I think it would be a bit of a tighter contest towards the end. Who are the standout players for me today? I would say, I think defensively we weren't really troubled. There was a couple of mistakes. Well, there was a mistake from Chusta Kong in the second half, which was a little bit sloppy. I think, to be honest, everyone in the second half was sloppy, really. We took our foot off the gas. I think I was really impressed with Paritza. Troy obviously getting the assist and the goal, so he has to be up there. Foster didn't really have a lot to do. It was more half chances for Rotherham, but yeah, it was taking the foot off the gas, didn't we? It was good to see Hughesy come on in the second half. I think that was a really, really good sight to see him back playing. But overall, I was in. Yeah, I think it wasn't a real big standout. I thought Sarr improved in the system. The 4-4-2 definitely suits him. It suits his game a lot more. It gave him the opportunity to run in behind more, get at the defence, because in previous games we hadn't seen him really be that involved. I thought he improved. So there was a lot of 7 out of 10s, I thought, all over the pitch. I think Troy probably has to be man of the match in terms of the fact he did get the assist and the goal as well. It was a comfortable display in the end. We move on to Birmingham on Saturday. It was the result we needed. The performance could have been better for me, particularly in the second half. There was quite a big difference, I thought. Whether that was something that was said at half-time, whether Ivic told them to take a foot off the gas. But yeah, it was a tough watch in the second half, was it? But we got the job done. It's another 3 points on the board. We moved to 3rd in the table. If results stay our way, I think Reading still have to play, Brentford still have to play. So we know how tight it is at the top of the Championship table. and that will continue to be the case. Norwich still have to play as well, who are slightly above us. But I mean, it is just so tight up in that league table. But it's a win. We move on to Birmingham on Saturday. Let's take a little look through your comments. We've got 39-40 of you watching. Thank you so much. Let's have a little look through the comments. Dan Gardner, you Orns up the Hornets, big win tonight, says old Mac 2004. Ed says a much needed 3 points, but another uninspiring 60 minutes. I think that's a fair reflection, Ed, because yes, the first half an hour was a big positive, and I think the first half overall kind of dropped off towards the ends, but then that continued in the second half, which was the disappointing thing for me. I thought we could have raised our level in the second half. I don't know what was said at half time, but there was definitely a drop off, wasn't there? Rossgate says tempo dropped second half, but Rotherham never really looked like scoring. Exactly that, Ross. At no point did I really think Foster was tested, but certainly the tempo did decrease in the second half, which was a little bit frustrating. But I guess we're trying to manage the fixtures at the moment. But certainly, as I said before, Ross, if we're going to play against better teams in this division, we will pay for dropping our levels off by that much, because there was a massive difference, as I said before. Pardon me. Adam Tomlinson says, an okay 3 points and always good to keep a clean sheet. Crazy Cam 2004. Not sure what happened to Sarr in the second half. He seemed to be all over the place rather than his position. Played well, but seemed to be here and there and everywhere rather than right mid. Good point, Cam. In the first half, you could tell Sarr was either staying out wide and drifting out wide, or drifting or cutting inside into the middle as an inside forward, giving Ngakia the space to overlap on the right-hand side. What was happening in the second half, as you mentioned, was Sarr was basically drifting in to play just behind the strikers, and that doesn't suit his game. We know he's most effective when he gets in between that left centre half and that right back, or goes round the right back in that channel of the pitch, not playing centrally and running in behind. It works if he comes in from the right and cuts in, but it doesn't work if he's just running in a straight line, because it's easy to defend, and Rotherham found it easy to defend in the second half. They just played a high line and we were getting caught offside how many times? So yeah, it was frustrating to see Sarr kind of fall into that trap and wasn't really playing as much in position as he was in the first half, because I thought he was good in the first half, but he seemed to drop off like the rest of the team in the second. Cormac K says, hi Jacob, hi Cormac. This will be good, not just for the table, but for Vlad. Yeah, the table doesn't lie. I mean, I think, again, our performance today wasn't brilliant. It wasn't stellar. It wasn't the best performance of the season, but it was 3 points, and that's the main thing. We could have absolutely steamrolled Rotherham today, which I would have preferred. But at the same time, it's still 3 points. It is still 3 points, and hopefully this gives us the confidence to kick on. But certainly the start is the biggest positive from tonight. The first 15, 20 minutes, the way we came out the block so quickly, put Rotherham to the sword. That just set the tone, really. But that tone did drop off, which is the frustrating thing. But yeah, that first 20 minutes we were really good. And yeah, the biggest positive for me tonight was the way we started. Cohen says Truce, Kiko, and Ngakia the standouts. I think the two fullbacks in particular, I agree with. Yeah, Truce de Kong, another solid performance from him. I really do like Truce de Kong. He's so composed on the ball. I know there was that mistake in the second half, but overall, since he's been at Watford, I've been really impressed with him. He reads the game well, physically, suits the Championship. Not the tallest of defenders, but the way he reads the game, very composed on the ball, quick as well for a centre-half as well, I believe. So, yeah, I like the look of Truce de Kong. It just seems like a brilliant character to have in the squad as well, a leader, which we needed. So I like Truce de Kong and been really impressed with him. And he's been involved in what has been, again, the biggest positive this season. That is our defence. Him, Kabasele, Cathcart, Wilmot. Arguably the best part of the squad at the moment is our back line, and he's been a massive part of that. So he needs to keep that up. And Kiko and Ngakia, again, the way they were bombing forward, it was said pretty pre-match that we needed those fullbacks to be involved, to be really bombing up high. And even when we had the ball, we had Truce de Kong, Kabasele, cleverly was kind of dropping into the centre-half role, and then you had Feminir and Kiko, Feminir and Ngakia as wide as they could possibly be, which stretched the pitch fantastically well. And that was a really good move, I thought, because it just gave us another option out wide. That allowed Sarr to cut inside. That allowed Semet to cut inside. And then they could bomb on the overlap. So, yeah, I really want to see that continue, particularly against teams lower down the table, because at times, Rotherham set up with like a 6-3-1 formation. It was so deep, not deep, but so defensive that it's very difficult to break down at any point in the game, but particularly during the start of the game, because that's the way they're going to set up. And they didn't really change from that, even when they went 2-0 down. So, yeah, I thought that was impressive, the way we managed to get those 2 early goals. I know one of them was from a set piece. The second was slightly lucky, but we managed to do it. And that's always the hardest things for teams coming up against those sort of sides who are very defensively minded and set up very defensively as well. Will says, hi, Jacob. Hi, Will. Saw you at the Cardiff game, but didn't say hi because of COVID. But congrats on the advancement of the channel and getting on Hive Live. Thank you so much, Will. That's so kind of you, mate. And if you do see me at games, if you want to say hello, that would be brilliant. I'm always up for a chat. Obviously, socially distanced, keeping the 2 meters. But Will, that is so kind of you. Thank you so much for the kind words in the chat. Shane, agree with you, buddy. Ngaki was faultless tonight. Our 2 fullbacks again really did stand out for me today. Adam says still not sure on Ivic. Let us know your thoughts on Ivic. Ivic has improved us defensively, says Shane. Let's have a look through all the Deeney comments, because I just had a brain freeze. I completely forgot who scored our second goal, because it wasn't exactly a memorable goal, but I just completely forgot who scored it. Can't wait for the Cycling GK's video. I completely agree. What a channel. We love Ben Foster. Thank you to everyone who is watching. We'll take a couple more questions. Ed Worthy, great last name. Nice 3 points, but worried about another away game. I think you're like every Watford fan, Edward, at the moment, because our home form is absolutely impeccable. Regardless of the way we're playing at the moment, we've only had 1 loss at home this season against Cardiff. So it's really, really impressive how, considering we haven't played great this season, our home form has been consistently good. Our away form on the other hand has been consistently poor. And if we can turn that away form round, then I really do believe that we can start climbing up the table even further. We do need to do that, because I know there's a saying that if you win your home games and draw your away games, you'll get promoted. But we need to start picking up wins on the road for sure, because there'll be times where we'll go on a winless run. I remember on the Jokanovic, we went on like a winless. Well, we lost 4. I think we lost 4 games on the bounce. Then we went to Fulham away and won 5-1. But those sort of runs will happen. There will be a run like that in this season. It's going to happen. But the great thing is that we're, how many games in? 17 games in, and we haven't had one of those runs yet. And I know it's been a little bit frustrating since the Queen's Park Rangers game, only picking up 1 win in 5. And the first loss in a while was Cardiff. But to get back to winning ways was the most important thing tonight. We managed to do that. We'll take a couple more. Yes, 50 viewers. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the match reactions, please do leave a like. It's always great after the wins, isn't it? So get your comments in as well. Josh Bright makes a great point. Also think we're starting to get more threatening at set pieces now, which is great. I completely agree, Josh. I think what I've noticed with Ivic is we're starting to have a few more set piece routines. The one tonight was well executed, but even against Cardiff, there was that we were trying to. I know the balls from James Garner weren't great at the weekend, but we were trying, and that's the main thing. We were trying to, and James Garner's not deliberately not delivering good balls. It happens sometimes. He's a young lad; he's going to learn from it. And yeah, it was good to see him get a run out at the end as well. Nick says, so difficult with lots of teams putting everyone behind the ball. Need more creativity. Hughes looks to do this when he came on. Yeah, exactly that. I think the quicker we get Hughesy into the starting lineup, the better, really. Nothing against Chalobah and Cleverley, but I kind of feel those 2 guys do the similar jobs in that midfield too. Both do the same thing, really. But Hughesy's just a little bit more progressive and creative going forward, and we do really need him back in that midfield too, particularly if we're going to play a 4-4-2. I think Hughesy's the man to really create a little bit more. Just Cleverley and Chalobah, and that's not as I said, nothing against them, but they were kind of doing the similar roles tonight. And Cleverley, I thought, struggled a little bit. We just didn't. Second half, we didn't really have a grip on the midfield, whereas the first half we did. Right, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Mike, legends. If you want to check out the Voices of the Vic podcast, I highly, highly recommend it. I was on for their podcast after the Cardiff game. It was really, really great fun being on there. Mike and Ben do a fantastic job with the Voice of the Vic pod, so make sure you do go and give them a follow. Make sure you give them a listen. Thank you so much for the kind words, Mike. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for having me on over the weekend. Guys, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. It's been 20 minutes. I hope you did enjoy the match reaction. If you did, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, my personal account is @JacobCulshaw. As you can see, I did it the wrong way. There we go. @JacobCulshaw on Twitter and Instagram. If not, you can follow us on Twitter, the channel @WD18fans and Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you for the build-up ahead of the Birmingham game on the weekend, and I'll be back for a match reaction for that one as well. Take care, guys. See you soon.